But let's go ahead and get started here. So, a lot of you folks are very familiar with RPAG here. And, one of the reasons why I really enjoy doing our What's New webinar series every quarter is because I'm very, very passionate about the RPAG membership base. I really enjoy working with the advisors that have joined RPAG. And so one of the things that, to show my gratitude for that, I want to help you as RPAG members maximize your investment with our RPAG resources. And so I wanted to start real quick here by pointing out a kind of a quick one-page overview of the RPAG resources. The reason why I bring this up here is because whether you've been with RPAG for a couple months or a few years at this point, you probably know by now that trying to go through our resources is like drinking water from a fire hose. It's really hard to get your arms wrapped around every single thing that we have to offer because of how expansive our platform is. And so one of the things that we want to do here at RPAG is help you understand and utilize all of the resources that you have at your fingertips through your RPAG membership. So I'll be sending this slide deck as a follow-up to today's conversation. And yet you'll be able to print that out as well. But I'll be sending this slide deck out as a follow-up here. And I really encourage you to take a look at this particular slide that I have up on the screen here and see if any of these resources you might not be familiar with. Whether it's, if you haven't used plan fees before or WellSense or fund mapping, there's tons and tons of resources that are hidden within RPAG that can really help you take your practice to the next level here. So again, please feel free to review this slide. And if you have any questions about any of these resources, you can always feel free to reach out to us here at RPAG. And I wanted to real quick just give you a quick visual of the support network that you have. For the folks of you here who have onboarded us with us here at RPAG, you know that we go through a very intensive onboarding process and want to make sure that we help you understand all of the resources that you have available to you. But we also want to be proactive with our training going forward and also reactive as well whenever you need it. So whether it's, you need guidance from our ERISA team or you need, to talk from someone from the RPAG investment team or something as simple as, calling in and having one of our advisor service associates help you run a report, please feel free to reach out to us. If you have new employees who you need to get kind of indoctrinated into RPAG and help them learn the ropes, send them our way here at the RPAG support team. And we're more than happy to do customized training to meet your firm's needs. So again, please not only think of the technology that we offer as a resource, but please also think of us as a service company. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your RPAG membership. So with that all being said, kind of setting the table here, let's talk about some of the what's new for Q3 of 2022 here. And I wanted to start and kind of single this enhancement out first and foremost because, gosh, in the last few years, I don't know if I've gotten a more consistent questions from folks looking at RPAG than, do you integrate with a CRM system? And for the longest time, we did not. However, the wonderful folks at our systems development team are constantly innovating and moving forward with our resources. And so just recently, a few months ago, we went live with a new CRM data integration that's available for all RPAG members. And essentially with this integration, what you're allowed to do is you can actually push information from RPAG into your CRM. So as it currently stands, it's a one-way push from RPAG to your CRM, meaning that if you update something like the plan asset amount in RPAG, that data field will also be updated within your CRM as well. So again, this is a new CRM integration that we have. We've sent out some communications within the last few months. If you have any questions about possibly getting the CRM data integration set up, please reach out to us at support@rpag.com. Really all we need is to set up kind of an initial fact-finding call with the RPAG systems development team, along with any of your folks on the tech side, to see where we can make those API integrations and get that hooked up for you. So if you're interested in exploring that data integration, please feel free to reach out to us at support@rpag.com, and we'll go ahead and get that set up for you. Moving on here, and like I said, I wanted to kind of single out the CRM integration here. There's a couple things that I'm going to be focusing on today with our new resources here. We'll be touching on a couple of new report modules that you can include in any of your RPAG deliverables. We'll cover a couple of really exciting enhancements to WellSense that we've seen over the last few months. Some updates to the fund mapping resource that some of you folks may or may not be familiar with. And then lastly, you might have heard we have a new CIT rolling out with T. Rowe Price. And so Matt Giovinazzo from our investment innovation team is going to be joining us at the bottom of this call here to talk a little bit about that new offering and how you can use that to help your current clients and win new business. So let's go ahead and get started here with the very first section here is the new report modules. I think a lot of us here, the common thread between all of us is that we all run reports within our PAG. And so it's always good to stay up to date on, what's available to you and what you have at your disposal. And so the very first resource I wanted to point you out to was this new plan highlights module that's available. You can find this within the plan level features list when you're creating an investment review or a provider analysis. Essentially, this plan highlights is a quick one-page summary of some of the key plan design features for this particular plan. All of this information is going to pull directly from the plan design card that's within the RPAG plan details page. And as you can see here, it's a great executive summary of employee contributions, eligibility, auto features, distributions, even account access and things like that. So this is another great way to not only focus on investments with your reporting, but also kind of branch out with your service model as well and hit some of those other, some of those other 3 Fs, the funds, fees, and fiduciaries as well. So again, this is available within the investment review, and this really goes along with a trend that we're seeing here within the RPAG community. I'm sure most of the folks on this call are familiar with our fiduciary investment review report that we have, which is probably our most single utilized investment due diligence report. And what we've seen over the last couple of years is a migration of, instead of running separate reports for investments, fees, and fiduciary governance, kind of molding those all into one plan review report. So including within the investment review, a quick plan highlights page like this. If you were with us last quarter, you know that we introduced a new plan fees integration with the fiduciary investment review, where if you've run a plan fees benchmarking report for one of your clients, you can easily, with just a click of a button, drop that into your fiduciary investment review report. So again, trying to keep up with the trends that we see within the industry here. And again, moving from segmented investment fee analysis and fiduciary governance reporting into a more compact and efficient single plan review report. The next exciting resource I wanted to cover here is a new plan review module called WellSense Meeting Summary. And again, this is specifically for folks that are using our WellSense Financial Wellness Program. And really, this WellSense Meeting Summary, think of it as kind of a hybrid between the meeting minutes function within, or meeting agenda function within RPAG, as well as the service plan. It's just a quick overview of when you're going to be providing certain employee education or enrollment meetings, when you're going to be doing one-on-one meetings with the employee. So again, with RPAG, if you've utilized our service plan before, what you'll see is that we're big on documenting your service model with your clients and prospects, letting them know what to expect. And so this WellSense meeting summary, this pulls directly from your service plan on the plan details page in RPAG. And it'll pull the dates when you have things like an investment review scheduled, one-on-one meetings, and individual presentations as well. Getting into our next section here, going into some of the exciting updates we've made to our WellSense financial wellness program. We're constantly working on WellSense and making it better. And if you're not familiar with our financial wellness program, WellSense, I included a quick one-page overview here to bring you up to speed. Essentially, WellSense is an end-to-end financial wellness engagement resource that helps you as advisors efficiently facilitate one-on-one meetings with employees. And so within the WellSense resource package, you get access to the WellSense financial wellness assessment, the scheduling tool that's baked right into WellSense, presentation content, employer aggregate reporting, as well as some other really great features as well. And the best part is that it puts you as the advisor right in the middle of things. So if you hear me talk about WellSense, I'll typically refer to it as the advisor's financial wellness program. That's because we at RPAG built WellSense with the advisor in mind. So if you're looking to take one-on-one employee education meetings and take that from a time suck activity into an actual revenue driver, and then make it more efficient using technology, please feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in exploring WellSense. We have some great utilization across the RPAG membership with this platform, and I've gotten a lot of positive results as well. Real quick, we got a couple of questions in the chat I'm going to refer to here. Is a printout of today's presentation available? Yes, I'll be sending as a follow-up the presentation deck here via email, so you're free to utilize that as you wish. And then Dallas, looks like you have another question that might be a little bit more prospect or client specific, so I will reach out to you after the call to talk about that specifically. So moving forward here with the WellSense enhancements that we have. So as you folks know who might use WellSense currently, one of the big pieces of setting up WellSense is integrating WellSense with whatever virtual meeting platform that you as the advisor firm is going to use. So again, the whole point of WellSense is efficiently driving one-on-one meetings to your advisory firm. And so what we've seen most commonly is advisors leveraging WellSense to conduct really efficient one-on-one meetings in a virtual setting, whether that be through Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams. We've seen that kind of all over the place in terms of advisors really efficiently utilizing this platform to meet with employees one-on-one. And so focusing in on Zoom here for a second, traditionally, the way that we've integrated an advisor's Zoom account with WellSense is the admin on the Zoom account for the advisor would have to go in and go through a few steps to pull these couple of credentials. It's basically 2 passwords from the Zoom account of the advisor. And we've been working with Zoom over the last few months to enhance this process, not only make it easier for you as the advisor to get everything set up, but also making it more secure and streamlining the integration a little bit. We've enhanced the Zoom integration here so that now instead of finding these 2, we'll call them passwords from your Zoom account, if you're using Zoom with WellSense, all you need to do is from your company details page within RPAG, type in your Zoom email if you're the administrator on the Zoom account, and then hit authorize. And then that's all you need to do to link up your Zoom account. So we've taken tons of steps out of the process for getting your account linked up with Zoom, and we'll be sending out some communications in the next couple of weeks that will include step-by-step instructions on how to do this. And as well as if you have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@rpag.com or give us a call. Moving forward here, this is one of the enhancements that I'm pretty excited about here with WellSense is the ability to manually add participants into kind of the WellSense system there. So as you know, if you have experience with WellSense, what you'll know is that all employee information that is offered through the WellSense Financial Wellness Assessment is automatically fed to the advisor via the RPAG advisor portal. So there's a WellSense dashboard section for each client that you have WellSense turned on for, where if you go there, you'll see a small section here that says WellSense participants, and it'll show you all of the individual employees that have taken the WellSense Financial Wellness Assessment, and will allow you to pull up a participant profile where you can review all of that information before you meet one-on-one with an employee. Now, one of the things that we ran into, a piece of feedback that we got from the advisor community, was that for some employers and employees that the advisor might already have an existing relationship with, and I'm talking, you know, pre-WellSense, where maybe the advisor was offering one-on-one meetings before they started utilizing WellSense. There was no real way to use, if the employee scheduled a meeting with the advisor outside of the WellSense technology, the advisor couldn't include that employee in the aggregate reporting that's included in WellSense, as well as keep the information organized within the RPAG advisor portal. So to get around that kind of circumstance, what our systems development team has done is added in this WellSense participant section, you'll see here at the very top an add participant button here. If you click on this button, it's going to bring up this little window here that you see in the bottom left of my screen. And this is where you can basically manually enter a participant in. So let's say an employee reached out to you as the advisor directly, not through WellSense, and said, hey, you know, I'd love to meet one-on-one with you. Again, I have some questions for you. Instead of making that employee, you know, go through, you know, hey, send them the link to WellSense, make them take the assessment, and then let them schedule a meeting. You can actually schedule the meeting with them and then go into that employee's actual WellSense login. And you can do a couple things there. You can reschedule a meeting or schedule a meeting through WellSense for that employee. And you can also, what I've seen some advisors do is instead of having the employee fill out the financial wellness assessment before the meeting, is actually go through the financial wellness assessment with the employee during the meeting. And so you can do that using that impersonate button here. So for any of these participants, if you click on this little pupil icon here, it's going to bring up this participant profile. And then you as the advisor can hit this impersonate button to then, like I said, reschedule meetings, take the participant through the WellSense assessment, and a few more things as well. So then moving on here to our next piece here is within WellSense, we have a pretty expansive library of financial literacy content. Within an employee's WellSense dashboard, after they're done taking their financial wellness assessment, they'll actually be taken to a screen where they can review customized and hand-picked articles based on their responses to the financial wellness assessment. So if I took my financial wellness assessment and the assessment looked and said, hey, you're having some problems with establishing an emergency fund, WellSense is automatically going to populate my login with articles that are directly related to establishing an emergency fund. And so to keep building out our content, we've also added some content that is specifically related to teenagers and children. So this is another great way for to add a little benefit for your employers who have employees who might have teens or kids in the house. We have a few articles that are directly geared towards those audiences, whether for teens, it's about buying your first car, or looking at the paying for college, for kids, just going over kind of what is a stock, etc. There's a lot of really good content in there. So you'll have a specific option to enable the WellSense Teen or WellSense for Kids options within your employee logins as well. And then lastly, I just want to make a quick note here. One of the things that we're working on right now with WellSense with enhancements is adding in a ability to segment the population of employees that take the WellSense assessment. And what I mean by that is that, if you're an advisory firm with multiple advisors, say maybe a head advisor and then have multiple junior advisors underneath, what you're going to be able to do with WellSense going forward is set limitations to say, hey, if an employee has over a certain amount of household income, then we're going to send them to our head advisor. If they have below a certain household income, we're going to send them to our junior advisors. And so you'll have some additional customization abilities there to make sure that the employees of your clients are going to the right advisor that's going to be the most efficient utilization of their time. And then next here, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the fund mapping and consideration enhancements that we've made to RPAG. So one of the reasons why I wanted to include this in here is about 6 or 7 months ago, I did a webinar about our fund mapping report. And I was quite frankly shocked at the amount of advisors who reached out to me and said that they hadn't used the fund mapping report before and weren't familiar with it. So we recently made some really cool enhancements to this report as well. So I wanted to bring it back to the forefront of your minds here in the RPAG community. So the first piece here, and this is going with the consideration section within RPAG, is you'll notice that if you create a fiduciary investment review within RPAG here, the step 2, the make consideration section, is going to look a little bit different now. Instead of the funds automatically populating for you right away, you're actually going to have the ability to choose a mapping strategy. And so depending on kind of the strategy that you're taking with the investment lineup of this particular client or prospect, you can choose how you want your mapping to look. So we have now 4 different options for you to utilize, and we wanted to streamline this a little bit for you all. So the first 2 options for the mapping strategy are related to the RPAG CITs. If you're not aware, we have an exclusive set of CITs that are available to RPAG members. And so if you have a client that needs a complete overhaul of their investment lineup and you just want to take a look at, okay, what would happen if I mapped all of the RPAG CITs into this lineup, you can use that top option there, map all funds to the RPAG CIT focus list. So if you're doing a kind of a massive swap, that's a great place to start. And then we also have another option related to the CIT focus list, where instead of mapping all of the funds to RPAG CITs, you can also only map the funds that are up for elimination. So the funds that are up for elimination based on the proprietary RPAG scoring methodology that we use to evaluate investment vehicles, you can map those funds only to RPAG CITs. Looks like we had a quick question. Is this being recorded and will it be sent out to us? Yes, this is being recorded here, and I will be sending this as a follow-up as well. So those are your 2 RPAG CIT options that you have there. And then lastly, we have a My Fund menu option. And if you've been with us here at RPAG and haven't gotten a chance to use the My Fund menu, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you do so. Basically, what the My Fund menu is the ability for you as the advisor to create a preferred fund list and store it within RPAG. So let's say, you as the advisor, you have a kind of a focus list of, say, 50 to 100 funds that you like to use across your book of business. you can actually put those funds into a special list within RPAG. And then when you're mapping, when you're doing an investment review for one of your clients or prospects, and you'd like to show them some potential investment options that they have, you can have all of the investment options pull from your My Fund menu. So what that essentially does for you is, instead of pulling, the highest scoring large cap value fund on, say a John Hancock platform or a Principal platform, it's instead going to select your hand-picked large cap growth fund that you've put on your My Fund menu. So what a lot of our advisors will do is update their focus list on a quarterly basis, and then update those there as well. And then moving on here to the next section as well, getting more into the fund mapping stuff. So again, if you're not familiar with the fund mapping resource, you can access it through the main menu in RPAG under the scorecard system section. It's going to be right there under the batch reporting option. And then also on the plan details page that I mentioned earlier, under the investment report section, you'll see the fund mapping option right under the investment review option there. Now, the way I look at fund mapping is essentially kind of an investment change proposal. And looks like Jason Lawrence has a question here. Is there a way to line up target date funds by date? Yes, absolutely. You can do that as well. Jason, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us at support@rpag.com, and we'd be happy to walk you through that. But on the left-hand side here, you can see a quick example of our fund mapping report. And so essentially what this report does is it's a great way for you as the advisor to quantify your value to either a prospect or a current client. And what I mean by that is, and if you squint your eyes a little bit here for me, you can see on the left-hand side, this would be a client's current fund lineup that we have going on. You can see we have, the clients in the American Fund A shares there. We have all the expense and revenue sharing, as well as the RPAG score for the fund. On the right-hand side is proposed investment changes to the investment lineup here. So as you can see here, if you look in this little S column here, you can see the score for each fund in this lineup is listed right here. And so if I was an advisor, I'd point out things like, hey, your large cap growth fund is scoring a 5, or your international equity fund is scoring a 5. Hey, well, what if we switch you over into funds that are scoring a 10 out of 10? And what you can also do is aggregate the whole fund lineup to show overall savings as well. So you can actually quantify the dollar amount and basis point savings that you're providing to this client or prospect. This is a really, really, really effective tool in prospecting circumstances where you might be trying to kind of frame the conversation in a sense that they might think their fund lineup is good, but in reality, they might have some big holes in the lineup. It's also a great way to introduce things like the RPAG CITs as well, showing great fund manager performance, also with lower expenses as well. So we've had this fund mapping report for a little bit here, but we've added some really neat enhancements to it. We've added 3 different types of fund mappings that you can run. Whether you're doing kind of a traditional fund-to-fund fund mapping, that's like the one that you see here on the left-hand side. Whether you're doing a share class to share class comparison, where you might be trying to show some share class options. And then an expense comparison as well, showing side by side, hey, if we went ahead with these proposed fund changes, here's what your expenses would look like here as well. And so in the last few months, we've also added a few new enhancements that I'm really excited about. The first being that you can now do side-by-side returns analysis here, and I'll show you that here in a second. You can also add and remove this RPAG score column as well. So I think this is particularly helpful with a prospecting situation. If maybe you don't want to broach the topic of the RPAG scoring methodology quite yet with these individuals, maybe just want to focus on expenses and rev share, you can remove that scoring column to kind of take the focus away from that and take a look at purely expenses. And again, this, like all of our other deliverables, is going to sync with the fiduciary briefcase, where you can automatically upload this into the client's fiduciary briefcase. And then I just mentioned it too, but I wanted to give you all a quick look at this, the side-by-side look at the returns for the fund mapping as well. So again, this is really what we wanted to do, was add some customization options for you, so that depending on what you or your client or your prospect want to cover in a particular meeting, your reporting can focus on that particular topic. So, I've heard feedback from advisors that, hey, our particular client that we're working with right now is very focused on 5-year returns, or, hey, our client lives and dies by the RPAG scoring methodology. All they want to see is 9s and 10s in our lineup, or, hey, they want to focus on expenses. Well, with these enhancements that we've made to the fund mapping report, you can now narrow in and kind of dial down the fund mapping report to meet that specific need of your client or prospect. So if you haven't seen the fund mapping report or haven't quite utilized it yet, please feel free to reach out to us at support@rpag.com. And if you want a demo, it looks like a couple people in the chat are asking for demos of WellSense or the fund mapping resource. For all of those, you can just reach out to us at support@rpag.com, or you can feel free to reach out to me directly at Luke, Luke, the letter V as in Veronica, at rpag.com, lukev@rpag.com. And again, I'll be sending follow-up to everyone who attended this call as well. So you'll have all my contact information at your fingertips. And then lastly here, we have the provider fund change notices that we rolled out late in last quarter. And I wanted to bring this up just because I think it ties in really well with our fund mapping and our new FIR considerations. Essentially, within the meeting minutes section of the client details page in RPAG, you'll notice now there's a provider notices section here, where basically what you can do is select the investment review report that you've run for your client. Let's say it's, your Q2 investment review. And then the RPAG system is automatically going to create an email for you that you can copy and paste into your email browser to send to a record keeper to initiate a fund change. It's automatically going to look at your report and say, okay, we're swapping large cap value fund A for large cap value fund B. It's going to put that all into text for you within RPAG, and then you copy and paste that into Outlook or Gmail or whatever you use, and can send that off to the record keeper. So with the smash hit that the automated meeting minutes and the automated meeting agendas were, we want to keep taking that a step further and keep adding little bits of efficiency to your client and prospect servicing process, so that no time is wasted in there, and that you can make sure you're pumping out these investment reviews and these fund change notices and executive summaries and meeting minutes and agendas, all with just a few clicks of a button. So again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions about any of these resources, please feel free to reach out to us at support@rpag.com, and we can walk you through these reports as well. Next, I'm really excited to bring in a guest speaker here for a couple minutes from our investment innovation team. A lot of you folks might know him, Matthew Giovinazzo, CFA charter holder on our team, and has extensive experience with working with our CIT and FlexPath offerings. So I wanted to bring him here today to talk a little bit about our latest and greatest with our CITs, with our newest offering with T. Rowe Price, and how you can use that to help win business within your retirement practice. So Matt, I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you, Luke. Great to hear the updates, and good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I want you to, Luke, give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay? I can't see you anymore, so I'm going to take it as you can. I see my little, all right, cool. All right, so I want you to think about a time when you were meeting with a prospect and you were hitting it off. Kind of everything was going well. You were having fun. They were digging what you were saying. You probably ended up winning the business. Kind of put yourself in those shoes and think about of course, maybe there was some a personal or relationship aspect there. Maybe it was happening on the golf course. Maybe you were whining and dining them, or just bought them a new iPad or whatever. Some of that happens. But think about the content that you're talking about in those situations. Most of the time, that's when you're talking about something and adding value and really educating a prospect on some things that they weren't aware of before, right? We're providing some unique value that they may have been underserviced in particular areas before, right? Now, what's kind of obviously happened, we're all well aware of how competitive and saturated our market is nowadays. It's getting harder and harder to frankly make a appealing, unique case to prospects, just because nowadays a $2 or $3 million plan, while it's not the largest, may have done a fee benchmarking and they're with a competitive record keeper and they recently renegotiated their fees and they're all over their investments and their lineup looks strong. It's getting harder and harder to kind of focus on the fees, funds, fiduciary and make a unique and compelling case there and really set ourselves apart from the competition. Of course, everything in the RPAG system is designed to help you do that and, have a better scorecard to pick better funds, right? And have better documentation around those processes and have things like Center for Financial Wellness and fiduciary education and fee benchmarking using our 2 or 3 different systems there. All of that is available. All of that is frankly, again, largely being applied to many, many plans today. So most of you are likely familiar with RPAG's Investment Innovation Suite, essentially our suite of discounted CITs and custom target date funds that are exclusively available to our network. Our goal for doing this 7 years ago was to really leverage the $800 billion in collective RPAG assets in a meaningful way. We are the largest retirement plan network or aggregator in the country. That scale has always lended itself to credibility so that you could take that story to any prospect, any client and say, look, the same technology that I would be using to service your plan is being used on billion-dollar plans and is being used collectively on $800 billion in assets. So it lends itself to credibility, but it never really translated to actual, differences that a client could feel. And that's exactly what we've done with the CIT. So hopefully most of you are familiar with this concept. Don't focus on the vehicle here, focus on the exclusive pricing benefit. So to focus on the first one here with Putnam Large Cap Value, you see the fund scores a 10. The expense ratio of the share class that you can use in your client's plans is 29 basis points. So go to the column furthest to the right, that's a savings of 46% over the zero revenue sharing mutual fund. And that's what probably every plan, most plans are in today, right? Maybe if they have 100 million in assets, they can negotiate that down. And there's a share class that Putnam has that's lower cost than that. But you simply have access to share classes that no other advisor does. So it gives you a fee lever that no other advisor has, right? So now we're kind of bringing back into the fold some of those unique aspects. Again, it's while RPAG is large, there's still only a very few subset of advisors that can access this share class. So that's really part of the intended purpose of this CIT suite and these innovative investments that we've partnered with these asset managers on, is to give you weapons other advisors don't have. And it's a great story, as many of you likely already know. We're kicking record keepers in the teeth for an extra 1 or 2 basis points. And a lot of the time, like the record keep is 8 bips, like you can get it to 6, cool. Of course it's meaningful and important to do if you can do it, but to be able to save, in this case, it's 26 basis points for that fund. You can do that across the entire menu. Again, it's a fee lever other advisors don't have. There's a ton of fat on the bone and savings that you can show. And frankly, it helps prevent our fee compression. You're reducing total plan costs and it allows you to keep your fees, competitive, but not have to seek elsewhere for a fee lever, meaning your advisory fees. You can keep them the same and save elsewhere. So hopefully, again, a very powerful tool that many of you are already leveraging. We continue to grow and expand this suite. Newest on this list would be AB Large Cap Growth. I'll get to T-Row in a sec, Luke, sorry. So AB large cap growth there, maybe fifth down, 32 basis points. It's a savings of 40% over the zero revenue sharing mutual fund. That's the newest addition to the suite. We have a few more in process right now. So we're going to be launching JP Morgan large cap value in probably a month. Oh, PIMCO small cap value is new as well. Actually not yet launched, but it'll be ready in about a month as well. Tough to find a good small cap manager that remains open. We have high conviction in PIMCO. And then the other one that's on the horizon is American Century Ultra. So that'll be 34 basis points and another great large cap growth fund for you. Scoring a 10, large growth, it's very difficult to find consistent, good active managers. And we definitely found one with American Century. Which brings up one last point before I go to my intended topic, which is T. Rowe target dates, is there was actually a question from someone about, do you have an approved menu of funds? And this is a question that I get quite often from RPAG members, which is, obviously doing investment research, it's a tall task. Ton of funds out there, ton of record keepers. You have a ton of clients to maintain those lineups for, and many advisors are looking for kind of guidance as far as who does RPAG view as the best managers out there. Obviously, what we've done here has been able to negotiate exclusive discounts for you to use with your clients, obviously. The process by which our team gets there really does not put expense first. This is the last step that we do in our CIT search process. And there's a great visual for this that I can share, but our team goes through a rigorous set of both quantitative and qualitative screens to arrive at this subset that you're looking at. So it really is it really is performance, score, and quality first that our 12 CFAs are going through to find the best managers in each asset class. Only once we've identified, say, the top 5 or 6, then the fee negotiations start. So this really is who RPAG views as the cream of the crop in terms of the best managers in each asset class. And then, of course, there's that additional benefit of you're able to access these at a price point that other advisors cannot. All right, Luke, continue on. So those are obviously what I would consider like our standalone or single manager, really core lineup CITs. We have an extensive suite of target date fund offerings as well. The first that we ever launched was FlexPath Index and FlexPath Index Plus, which are really custom BlackRock target dates. We've expanded those and built record keeper specific versions, which you see below, such as FlexFit Plus, Flex Focus with the record keeper listed there. Those are the same thing that essentially where you have a record keeping discount secured at each of those record keepers. So, a lot of times, obviously, record keepers will offer you a discount if you use their proprietary TDFs, and you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I want the discount, but I kind of get an inferior TDF? This is a great way of delivering a top-notch TDF without having to sacrifice on quality. American Funds TDFs we rolled out a few years ago, exclusively available at Voya and Empower. Similarly, same kind of idea here, lower cost for the actual funds and also a record-keeping discount at those providers, Voya and Empower. I'm really excited to announce the newest addition to this suite, which is T. Rowe's target date funds. Availability, as you can see, is most record keepers. It's essentially any open architecture platform, Fidelity, Voya, Empower, Principal, Hancock, Census, any open arc platform where you're going to run into issues in terms of availability is where you'd expect, like a group annuity platform. So this is exciting for a few reasons. T. Rowe is obviously a very prominent, the largest active target date fund manager in the industry. They are also very well known and have a very successful track record for strong performance. I mean, it's tough to beat T. Rowe. I don't think anyone does on pure performance. So it's great to have an arrow in your quiver. The pricing benefit that you get, you can see there, is 36 basis points for this exclusive share class. Their net usually is as low as 41 basis points. And depending on the share class, it's sometimes up into the 50s. So really a tremendous pricing lever, again, that you have in the TDF space, a good weapon with a high quality manager. This is their standard. This is a full clone of their off-the-shelf regular mutual fund. Their flagship series, that fully active retirement, which is their aggressive glide path series. It's the exact same thing, just again, at a discount. Normally for this pricing, a plan has to invest $500 million into the funds. So think about that pricing benefit where you can take this to a $50 million plan. You know, that's a pretty good plan size, $50 million. They're not even close to what T. Rowe would typically require for this share class. So really exciting addition. That's ready to trade today. We have agreements ready. Most of you are probably aware of the process for adding CITs, but it is just the same as a mutual fund, frankly. Contact the record keeper, let them know you want to add those funds. They'll probably send you the CIT agreement, which just needs to be signed by the client. It's a very simple agreement. So a great addition to the overall RPAG investment innovation suite. And maybe just one other slide to kind of provide some context here, perhaps beat a dead horse here, but one back, Luke. So I mentioned kind of that pricing benefit and the analogy that I frankly am very explicit in conveying to clients. Look, you know, normally your plan would not qualify for this share class because you can talk this up in any way that you like, you know, because of the size and scale of my firm, because of my back office partner, RPAG, maybe they're familiar with our name because of, you know, it's attached to the scorecard, et cetera. But, you know, reminding them you're able to access these price points because of me as your advisor. You know, there is the altruistic side of what we're doing, which is we're reducing fees where possible, right? We're helping people garner additional savings and retirement assets. That's great. I also want them to know you're getting this because I'm your advisor, right? And there is a competitive advantage and an edge to that, whether you're using that in a prospect setting to win a plan or you're using it just to kind of reassert your value to an existing client. This is another great example. As you can see, those brackets where it says firm clients receive, this is meant to be customizable as like a PowerPoint slide you can plug into your finalist deck or any of your materials. But this really is a cool example talking about ClearBridge Large Growth specifically that it demonstrates the pricing power. So I'll walk through this actually with clients. Starting on the bottom, the mutual fund is 62 basis points. Again, that's as low as a plan can get if they eliminate all revenue sharing and they go for that, you know, clean and transparent share class. One step up, or rather down from that, from an expense standpoint, is the street CIT. So this is the CIT that any advisor can access directly through Wilmington Trust. It's 58 basis points. And the way I explain that to a prospect is, look, if your advisor knows what they're doing, they're probably talking to you about CITs since minimums have really gone down or been eliminated completely for CITs over the last few years. So you should really have at least documentation that you've explored CITs, if not adopting them. And in this case, you know, it's 4 basis points of savings. Why not take advantage? Most plans can't access this next level, but so this is actually the Coca-Cola plan. It's a $4 billion plan. They have ClearBridge Large Growth. They've negotiated directly with ClearBridge a CIT that's 45 basis points. So think about that. With scale comes leverage. They can throw their weight around and get a better CIT, better priced CIT than what the street is, right? Makes sense. I imagine just most plans are not $4 billion. Fact of the matter. But being a part of that $800 billion of collective RPAG assets, you're able to access it in a startup plan or a $100 million plan, whatever it is, but most of which are probably going to be a fraction of $4 billion. That's still a third less of what Coca-Cola has in their plan. So just a really good example of the pricing power of the whole suite. This kind of example persists across other funds, whether it's PGIM Total Return or Putnam Large Value or Putnam Stable Value or BlackRock Mid Growth. The same story persists for a lot of those funds. This is just one that's kind of a good example that I like to walk through with clients. So I think that's it for my session. Mainly wanted to focus on, again, T. Rowe TDFs and kind of just high level, how are we approaching these differentiators and making an impact and not only helping clients and participants, but also helping advisors set themselves apart from the competition. And we're going to continue to kind of roll out these solutions and expand this suite so that you have more and more that you can leverage. Thank you for your time. I'm going to pass it back over to Luke.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matt. Always enjoy listening to that fantastic benefit that RPAG advisors have. And I know that T Row series is very, very popular out there in the industry right now. So we'd be remiss if we didn't let you all know of the great exclusive access that you have to it with that pricing. So just to kind of wrap things up here, we can't talk about technology if we can't talk about, what's coming down the pipeline here later this year. And so there's a few really, really cool resources that are coming down the pipeline here later this summer that I want to make you aware of to keep your eye out for. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the RPAG marketing communications, we send out weekly retirement newsletters. We're sending out communications about new resources. So if you're not receiving any of those emails, again, reach out to us at support@rpag.com if you'd like to be included in that email list, because we'd certainly love to get all that information to you. But just to wrap up here, a couple of things that are coming later this summer and later in 2022 here. RFP Express, which is going to be part of the plan fees fee benchmarking suite. RFP Express is going to be an instant quoting and proposal tool that you can utilize where, instead of taking weeks and weeks to put together, a report comparing proposals, it'll take you about a day to do that, even less in most cases. So RFP Express is going to be a big game changer in the terms of proposals and putting those together for advisors. So we'll make sure to give you plenty of heads up when that's coming later this summer, but keep your eye out for RFP Express. We also have a rollover analyzer that our lovely team of former ERISA practicing attorneys that we have in-house here at RPAG are putting together to comply with PTE 2020-02. Essentially what this is going to do is help you as advisors catch over some of those group plan to IRA rollover opportunities and things like that. We're going to make sure that you have all the proper documentation to provide your employee to be able to satisfy that commitment there. So also the rollover analyzer will be coming later this summer, early fall. We'll also be with the prevalence of pooled plans within our industry. We'll be adding some additional pooled plan reporting capabilities down the line here to make sure that that reporting is even more seamless than it is now, and that you're providing the specific pieces that you're going to need. And then lastly, our ESG fund ranking methodology. ESG is a bit of a hot button topic within our industry right now. And so that same ERISA team that I mentioned with the rollover analyzer are also working on an ESG fund methodology to help you determine what's the best fit for your clients in the terms of ESG. So providing some additional metrics and methodology to help you evaluate those and provide yourself and your client fiduciary protection there. So again, these will all be coming later this year in 2022. We're really excited about these resources. And the last thing I want to leave you with here is if you have any questions or if you have any feedback for us here at RPAG, please feel free to send it to support@rpag.com. We've built a lot of our really neat resources off of the feedback that we've gotten from our advisor community. And so if you have any ideas on how we can make RPAG even better or work even better for your firm, again, we're always looking for that feedback from you all as well. So again, folks, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to join me today. As a follow-up, I'll be sending an email with the slide deck, include some CIT information that Matt had mentioned in his part of the presentation. But again, I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a very safe weekend. Thanks again, folks. Have a great day.